I was actually looking online for spots that we could travel in Queensland, and there was this one beautiful photo that I saw at Blackdown Tablelands where it was like a couple of pools, you know, that people had taken photos of, and I was like, this had got to be the next spot on our venture.
We actually found the Blackdown Tablelands campsite, which is Red Rocks. We found that on the actual wiki camps, and we made the decision just to head towards there and book that place.
But yeah, I was just hungering for that, those pools, you know, just to go after them and trying to explore where they were. We went up this little narrow path, and then we were greeted with these spectacular pools.
Our first reaction was like, let's just get in there. Let's just get in there and just experience that fresh and the coolness and the wonder of like just being in those pools.
Yeah, and it was so incredible that, you know, God had created this oasis, these pools just for us to explore.
Yeah.
And it was fresh, clear water. We brought our own masks as well.
Yep.
Dove in, and yeah, it was just a great time to play around. And I noticed when with one of the pools, you jumped in and you like disappeared for a bit.
Yeah, how was your reaction?
Well, you jumped in and I was like, oh, where's he going? He popped out on the other side of the pool. So it turns out there was like this little tunnel underneath that connects one pool to the other. So there was just all these wonderful discoveries that we discovered on that day. We see online that, you know, people just hunger for these type of experiences where it's almost their fix to try and experience these things, and when they leave these sites that their fulfillment goes like when we leave the location. And I think from our perspective as Christians, we know that we can see these creations as God's perspective. You know, God has created the heavens and the earth, and you know, these pearls were just a representation of his fingerprint when he was creating this.
Yeah.
And like through exploring these pools, having the time of our life. Aaron, you mentioned that there is actually, in the Bible, there's a pool that was mentioned.
Yeah, the pool of Bethesda. We're just looking for that experience, and in the Bible, it shows you that experience where there were a whole group of people that were lame, that were hurt, that were looking for a miracle would gather around the pool, because what would happen is like an angel would touch the pool, it'll ripple, everybody would try to get in and then get healed. And sometimes
the first person would get
the first person would get healed, and that's like the luck of the draw. And I guess we can, as people, we can easily gather around like spectacular things that creation has made, or spectacular experiences that we can come around. But as you mentioned, they're not going to fulfill us. They're not going to keep us going. It's only the one who gives us like living water that really fulfills us from within us, and constantly gives us that joy, constantly gives us that peace, constantly gives us that fulfillment. And that's Jesus. You know, he's the one that gives us the living water.
In John 4, verse 13 to 14, it says, Jesus answered and said to her, whoever drinks of this water will thirst again.
Yeah.
But whoever drinks of the water I shall give him will never thirst. But the water that I shall give him will become in him a fountain of water springing up into everlasting life. And there was a story in that pool where there was a lame man that there was someone else who was getting healed, and this guy was like, for 38 years, he'd been trying to get to these pools but never did until he encountered Jesus.
Yeah, Jesus actually made a beeline for him specifically, you know, and asked and told him, what do you want? And he gave that example. He can't get into the water, he's always late. So Jesus just said, do you want to be healed? And told him, get up, pick up your mat and walk and just get out. You know, and it's like, that's what happens when you talk to somebody who gives living water. That's when you talk to the creator of the world. You know, he gives you that fulfillment. He gives you everything that you need. Is a sign we're on the way. Wait to the rhythm of the moment that we're making. The silver lining we'll find is worth the waiting. I think we're onto something.
Oh, We went to the cliff face.
Yeah, we went to the cliff face. Dave got really good shots and he could see like just through the valley of where Rainbow Falls was, which was pretty spectacular. And we had hit that place like at sunset, so it was an amazing experience to see. And then we went down these stairs, past some Aboriginal artwork on the wall and past the stairs, and we went down to Rainbow Falls. We had a quick swim in the falls. It wasn't too full, but it was just enough that we could just have a swim and have just a chill in that area. And we got to see our friendly Mr. Eel. Yeah, a little fish there.
Yeah. And yeah, overall it was just a great experience. We went back to the campsite, cooked up a feed.
We actually, we hung around the campfire. We had a good session around the campfire.
Definitely Blackdown Tablelands was a beautiful tropical paradise that we explored. Would put that on the list to visit again.
Put it on the list. Yeah, I recommend you've got to do it. You've got to do the pools and you've got to do Rainbow Falls. And if you go straight after a rainy season, guaranteed that's going to be like a lot more water, a lot more experience, a lot more fun.
All right guys, thanks for watching this episode of Blackdown Tablelands. We've got a few more episodes on this series with Dave and Az do Queensland coming up, so be sure to comment, like, subscribe, share it with a friend, and hope this message encourages you to seek the deeper meaning of things in life. We found the secret spot.
Found the secret spot.